Hi, this is Mark at learnhowtogarden.com, and in today's video log we're going to be talking about things you should really be thinking about doing in September or getting on with doing in September in your garden. I'm filming this on the 1st of September. It's probably one of the nicest days we've had in the last couple of months. And I've just released our September newsletter to my subscribers. If you aren't a subscriber to Learn How to Garden, it's quite easy. The link's just below this video. You can hop over to the website. All it costs you is your email, and that means you get our newsletter on a monthly basis, which we feel is sort of quite interesting, full of lots of interesting information about what to do with your plants, one or two things I don't cover in the basic vegetable gardening, how to preserve them, recipes, things like that. Entirely up to you, but like I say, I think it's well worth the sort of quick flick with the mouse. What you see before me is a pile of seeds, but we're not in spring, are we? This is September, but you can still sow. You can still sow things now. And what's brilliant is you can sow things now that are going to get you through that hungry gap just after Christmas. You can sow things now that are going to get you things to eat before Christmas. One or two of these are Japanese vegetables, Japanese varieties in the last 20 years have given us such a variety of things we can grow at this time of the year that we never could before. Just looking through these have come out of my seed box. I suppose all of us have got a seed box with seeds in. Mine starts off at the beginning of the year in sort of months. By the time it gets to now, everything's been rearranged and picked out or, moved about. We've got red mustard, which is red frills mustard. I was talking about this at the beginning of the year. Brilliant plant, ever so easy to grow. One of the really sort of nice spicy ingredients for a salad in the winter. Pak choy, we've all seen this in our local supermarkets. Much firmer if you grow it yourself. Very, very simple. Manure. Manure is one of those things you very rarely come across in the supermarket. It's slightly, I think, has slightly more flavour than Mizuna, which is what you come across, which is the tall one that's got very serrated leaves, a bit like a rocket. This here is Mabuna. This has been sitting in this pot now for about 4 months. We've picked it. You literally keep picking around the edge. If I took it out of this pot and put it into the ground, it's as tough as old boots. It'll take as much cold as you can throw at it. Or if I put it in the ground into the greenhouse, it can get to a plant this big. It's an enormous plant. And again, you can eat these leaves just as they are in a salad, or you can very quickly saute them or stir fry them, and they really, really are beautifully tender and beautifully fresh at a time of year when, for a lot of us, we're thinking about the cabbages and the kales, which are great, don't get me wrong, I love those, but it's nice to have that fresh saladiness coming along as well. For those eagle-eyed among you, a snail has just been removed from the Rabuna. I obviously, just like everybody else in the country, is plagued with these little things at the moment. And that brings me on very nicely to just say the next video that we'll be launching is about green manures, and it's really important because it really can help you with your snail population next year. Anyway, back to today and what we should be doing. Lamb's lettuce, again, great to sow now, rocket, and some chicories. They prefer the cooler weather. You're not going to get them bolting, you're not going to get them shooting to seed. Perfect to pop in now with the slightly cooler days. So there's a variety of things you can get in now. The next thing that's really important is you should be ordering certain seeds. Now is the time to order your garlic, because garlic really needs to go in October, November. Japanese onions, these are small sets, which are like mini baby onion bulbs that can go in now, which will stay in the ground all winter, and they'll give us onions about 6 weeks before even ones that we plant with seed next year. Broad beans, this is probably not the best variety for flavour compared to some of the summer ones, but it will go all through the winter, and it's going to give you beans earlier than the earliest sowings you're going to have in spring. So it's a time to get certain things ordered. Sweet pea seeds ordered now. We're going to plant them sort of in October, and they will come through the winter quite happily, give us much earlier sweet peas next year, are much bigger plants. And also seed catalogues. I know we all look online, but I think it's I think it's still nice sometimes to be able to flick through a seed catalogue and have 2 or 3 in front of you and compare, not compare varieties, but compare what they're going to cost you and compare the amount of seeds that you're going to get in a packet, because in this day and age it matters. You know, one company might give you twice as many seeds for the same price as another, and if they do, I'll quite happily tell you which I use. And if you're lucky, you probably still will be able to get hold of some spring cabbage plants that could go in now. Don't worry if they just sit there as though they're sulking until after Christmas and then suddenly sort of burst into growth. That's fine, it doesn't matter. If their roots are doing their job underground, that's what you need. Come the spring, they'll spring into life and you'll get lots of pickings of green leaves. The other thing I think you can sow now, which a lot of people don't realise, is some of our hardy annual flowers, which give you flowers again much earlier in the spring than you would get them from a spring sowing. And a quick sort of half a dozen hardy annual flowers that you could sow. Scabious is good to go in now, larkspurs will go in now really nicely, calendula, I love those sort of little orange discs that come out, sort of make you feel the sun's out before it is. Nigella, not Nigella Lawson, although I have to say sometimes when she's talking on the telly you'd put her underground. Having said that, I do adore the cake she bakes. California poppies are great now, and all of these are you can get from your local garden centre, but I would really like to recommend, there's a guy called Benjamin Higgledy, runs a company called Higgledy Garden. You can find him on the internet, you can find him on Twitter. Is a mind of information for hardy annuals, is brilliant, it's quite a sort of, you know, eclectic site, shall we say, but is a really good resource for sort of hardy annuals. And I would, like I say, really highly recommend just hopping over there, having a look. You know, if nothing else, I guarantee it will raise a smile on your face, and his seeds are really top notch, great germination from them. And last but not least, if you're growing tomatoes, once they're red, get them off. Someone asked me the other day, you know, some of my tomatoes are very small and they've gone red, will they get bigger? No, not really. Once they're changing colour, that's as big as they're going to get. Get them off, let the energy that's still in those plants go into tomatoes that are still growing. And I think that's probably it for September, really. You know, still beautiful, one of my favourite months for gardening, really. The sun isn't quite as intense, but the sort of colours that we're getting, the sort of light, I think, sort of becomes softer somehow. And for me, as well as my vegetables, I quite like sort of hardy exotics, and now is the time for the ginger lilies and things like that, the real heady sense of autumn for me. So until the next What to Do in October, that's me saying thanks a lot for watching this is what I'll be doing in September, but we've got lots of videos coming up through the next month. Like I say, one of the important ones is green manure. If you do nothing else for your garden this winter, let's wrap it up in a nice green duvet.